Aurora Wells is a 32-year-old woman with a thriving career as the owner of three artisan bakery locations in the commercial district of Ashwood, Vermont. She stands outside her flagship store on a crisp autumn morning, the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the air as she checks her phone for what feels like the 100th time. Her eyes scan the screen and her heart skips a beat as she sees 29 missed calls from a familiar area code, one she had not seen in years. The phone screen lighting up with the familiar digits sends a shiver down her spine, and she feels her mind racing back to a time she thought she had left behind. Her hand instinctively tightens around the phone, her knuckles turning white as she tries to process the sudden influx of calls. The sound of the bakery's espresso machine and the chatter of early morning customers fade into the background as she stands frozen, her eyes fixed on the screen. Aurora's thoughts drift back to her childhood, to the family she grew up with and the pain they inflicted on her. Her father's family had always presented a united front to the world, with her mother and father projecting an image of a perfect family. But behind closed doors, the reality was far from perfect. Her father, a man with a charming smile and a quick wit, had a favorite child, her older sister, Hope. Aurora remembered the countless times her father praised Hope, celebrated her achievements, and lavished her with attention while she was left to struggle in the shadows. As a child around the age of 8, Aurora recalled walking into her parents' bedroom where her mother was helping Hope get ready for a birthday party. The room was filled with the sweet scent of perfume and the soft hum of hair dryers. Her mother was carefully styling Hope's hair while her father looked on, beaming with pride. Aurora had felt a pang of jealousy, wanting to be the center of attention, but her mother had quickly dismissed her, telling her to go play outside. The memory still stung, a painful reminder of the favoritism that had defined her childhood. Years later, when Aurora was 12, her family went on a camping trip. She remembered sitting around the campfire, roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories. Her father had teased her, calling her a scaredy cat, while Hope was praised for her bravery. The contrast between the way her father treated her and Hope had been stark, and Aurora had felt a deep sense of hurt and resentment. As she approached her teenage years, the cruelty had continued. Her parents had enrolled her in a prestigious summer program, hoping she would make connections that would help her get into a good college. But when she excelled in the program, her parents had taken credit for her achievements, telling their friends that they had always known she was smart. The pattern of behavior had been clear. Aurora's achievements were not hers to own, but rather a reflection of her parents' good parenting. The memories came flooding back, and with them the pain and the anger. But Aurora had built a life for herself, a life that was far removed from the toxic dynamics of her childhood. She had worked hard to create a successful business, one that brought her joy and fulfillment. The bakery was her sanctuary, a place where she could escape the demons of her past. The door to the bakery swung open and a customer walked in, breaking the spell. Aurora forced a smile, greeting the customer warmly as she tried to shake off the memories. But the encounter with her past lingered, a reminder that some wounds never fully heal. As she went about her day, Aurora couldn't shake the feeling that her past was about to collide with her present. The missed calls from her family's area code had set off a chain reaction, and she knew that she couldn't ignore them forever. The question was, what did they want from her now? The days that followed were a blur of activity as Aurora tried to prepare herself for the inevitable confrontation. She knew that her family would not be calling out of the blue, they must want something. The uncertainty hung over her like a cloud, casting a shadow over her otherwise successful life, and then the knock on the door came. It was a heavy, insistent knock, one that Aurora couldn't ignore. She hesitated for a moment, her heart racing, before making her way to the door. When she opened it, she was surprised to see her sister Hope standing on the porch, looking more confident than Aurora remembered. The conversation that followed was stilted, with Hope explaining that their father was ill and that he wanted to see Aurora. Aurora was taken aback, unsure of how to respond. But as she looked at Hope, she saw the same smug expression she had seen all those years ago. The same expression that had driven her to build a life without her family. Aurora's eyes narrowed and she felt a surge of determination. She would not let her family dictate her life anymore. She would not let them take away her peace. With a calm, measured tone, she asked Hope what she wanted. The silence that followed was oppressive, a heavy blanket that suffocated the room. As Hope handed her a piece of paper, Aurora's eyes scanned the document, her heart racing with excitement. It was a property deed, one that proved she had finally achieved her dream of owning a fourth bakery location. The irony was not lost on her. Her family had once belittled her achievements, but now they were forced to acknowledge her success. The room seemed to shrink, the air thickening with tension. Aurora's family had come to her seeking something, but she was not the same person she had been all those years ago. She was stronger, more confident, and more determined. The silence between them was a palpable thing, a living, breathing entity that seemed to pulse with power. As the minutes ticked by, Aurora felt a sense of validation wash over her. She had built a life without her family, a life that was hers alone. And in that moment, she knew that she had finally found what she had been searching for all along: peace. The years of silence had been a deliberate choice, a way for Aurora to protect herself from the toxic dynamics of her family. But now, as she looked at Hope, she realized that silence was not forgiveness. Favoritism was not love, and cruelty was not discipline. Real family and real love required effort, empathy, and understanding. Aurora's thoughts turned philosophical as she reflected on her journey. She had learned that forgiveness was not about the other person, it was about her own peace of mind. She had learned that she didn't have to explain herself to anyone, that she didn't have to justify her choices. And she had learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply walk away. As she closed the door on her sister, Aurora felt a sense of closure wash over her. She had built a life that was hers alone, a life that was filled with purpose and meaning. And in that moment, she knew that she would always be okay, no matter what her family threw her way. The bakery was quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the refrigerators. Aurora walked back to her office, her heart still racing from the encounter. She sat down at her desk, her eyes fixed on the property deed that lay on her desk. It was a symbol of her success, a reminder of what she had achieved without her family's help, and as she looked at the deed, Aurora smiled to herself. She had done it. She had built a life that was hers alone, a life that was filled with purpose and meaning. And in that moment, she knew that she would always be enough.